So you've published some pretty, for me, thought-provoking pieces on silver. I also own it. I own the related miners. Tell me again, and tell our audience again, what makes you bearish on that metal, or at least concerned about the silver market fundamentally?
Well, it usually, I cut my teeth, Aaron, as a short seller in investing. So just to be clear, really my foray, or my early life of launching my first fund was really in identifying fraud. It's not that hard to identify when everybody's doing the same thing. You can look around you, and when it becomes a social mania, for me, it becomes interesting. I start saying, well, what's really going on here? And of course, I'm interested in the sociology and the psychology. And I'll be listening to a podcast at night, and it'll be something like I listen to Judge Napolitano, for example. I probably shouldn't mention it, but I kind of like the guy's show. He's got a nice podcast, but like every 5 minutes, he's selling gold and silver. I'm thinking, wait, this guy spent his entire life in the legal profession as a judge. And he's telling me this is how you're going to hedge your portfolio and protect yourself. And I'm like, how do you know that? You're not a professional investor. Why are you giving legal advice? So it seems to me the regulatory threshold's very low for everybody to be making money off the gold and silver trade, including those who don't actually own it. So everyone's sort of making a cut by promoting. So when I see an ecosystem like that emerging, it's really not that different than the dot-com bubble or the housing bubble. Or the tulip bubble. You start to say, well, and again, a whole village starts to sort of gather around it. And then there's the people storing it. There's the people insuring it. There's the people promoting it on the podcast. And you say, everyone's getting paid, right? And like, I was joking with a friend of mine the other day, when Nick Fuentes got his gold contract to push gold, we should have thought that's the top, right? Everyone all of a sudden is an expert on investing. In the dot-com, era, everyone was an expert on .com. You just have to buy something at .com and the price would go up. So what's the mindset of the speculator, Aaron? It's no matter what price I pay, silver at 117, silver at 85, it doesn't matter because tomorrow the price will be higher. And they believe they know that. And they create a narrative that lets them think they know the currency is going to be debased, but they don't actually really know that. I mean, they don't have a direct line to Trump or anything, right? Or the Federal Reserve. They just think they know that based on headlines on CNBC, which are hardly integritous. So in my opinion, the mindset of the investor, which is quite distinct, it's they're really complete polar opposites. They cannot be matched in any way. The investor says, well, if I can figure out what something's really worth, then hopefully I could pay less than it's worth, and I have a margin of safety in the event I'm wrong. So that, in my mind, is the definition of a true investor. I don't see ever a stacker thinking in that way, saying, well, I know that silver is worth exactly X. I'm going to wait for the price to go to Y, and then I'll have a margin of safety. I just don't see that happening. I hear just a lot of, again, sort of a repetitive narrative that's fear-based. And again, I just sort of think there's probably a lot of wasted talents in that, because you've got a lot of very, very smart people like yourself, incredibly intelligent, great business person, successful by every measure. But then we enter into this activity that really doesn't put those talents to work, I don't think, in my opinion. Not necessarily you specifically, but I'm saying generally.
Yeah, no.